when I found LinkedIn and the opportunity there at the time. You know, LinkedIn, even today, it's got such an opportunity to grow organically. And I made my first post, it got more views, more impressions on that one post than my entire year's worth of Instagram content. I think it's, for me, it was being able to zoom out and get an expert's view, you know, you and your team, and just to help me come out of the day-to-day and then look at the business and show you, show me essentially that this can be done through a system.
A lot of what you're saying is what I love, and I think it's so important for career coaches to understand, is the importance of building the systems and processes so you know what lever you can pull whenever you need it, right?
Genuinely, I've got more time now, I feel, than what I did before working with you guys, in terms of being able to spend more time with friends and family and do things that I enjoy, and then that helps me for the next day, like
you're mentally, mentally charged.
Exactly.
Dan,
let's do it. Daniel, how's it going?
Going well. Thanks so much for being here, from flying all the way across the pond to Florida to hang out, have a conversation. Thanks for coming.
Yeah, no, I'm good to be here. Thanks for the invite. Yeah, I'm excited to chat to you, and the flight was fine, so yeah, can't complain.
Well, I'm excited to just have this conversation, but also just to give you kudos for the journey that you've been on, but like the growth that you've had in the last year. And I know your story is gonna be very inspirational for others. So you ready to get started?
Thanks, man. Yeah, no, 100%. Let's go for it.
All right, perfect. Dan, tell us a little bit more about where were you in your business before we started working together?
Yeah, so I've been running the career coaching business, Gradvance, for a few years before kind of working with you. I tried lots of different systems and models, in terms of one-to-ones and then some group coaching stuff and some workshops. And I was working with a few clients at a time, but because I was working a full-time job, I didn't have the time to, my time was getting used by the amount of having to deliver on the program. So it wasn't scalable. And so at the time when we were talking, I was in the process of thinking about what the next step could be. How can I make this into a bigger business that would serve me in the life that I'm trying to live as well, with my job, and then eventually to be able to go full-time. And I knew something needed to change. And when we started having that conversation, I was like, okay, this kind of makes sense. I could definitely see how building more of a program would be useful for me, as opposed to just spending my time in the one-to-ones. So yeah, that's kind of what I was doing. I was working with people, a lot of one-to-ones and group stuff, and writing the CVs for them. I was writing cover letters. I was doing all the mock interview stuff, and I'd say I wasn't getting loads of money for that either at the time, because it's not, you can't serve a lot of people. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of where I was. Yeah.
What would you say was like your biggest struggle before working together?
I think it's the time. I think it was the fact that I was essentially, all the hours I had free were getting taken up by a small amount of clients, and I didn't have necessarily the systems in place to be able to take my audience from LinkedIn or other places into an area where I can serve a lot of them. So it was that, and because I didn't have the time to focus on the business and think about strategy, I was so much doing stuff all the time. I was just focused on where the next sales coming from, and then I was going. Yeah. So that was where the blocker was. But I knew I needed to step back and change the system, because all the pieces were there. I just needed to put them together, really. Yeah. So
before working together, when we first started having a conversation, what were the goals that you were trying to accomplish with your business?
So I was, trying to figure out what I wanted it to be. I think, it was very much started off as a passion project where I was just trying to help people out. Then I started coaching, and it became a little bit more. I was making a little bit of cash on the side. And it was only really recently, in the last, before working with you properly, in the last couple of year or so, where I'd say I wanted to make it into a proper business, and eventually leave my job and go full time in the future, which is what my plans are. So yeah, that was what my goals were. That was what I wanted to achieve. And working with you and your team is what's gonna hopefully get me there, get me to that next level now. But it's been a great year, so yeah.
Before, how long have you been working on Gradvance? How long has this been from the moment you're I think I want to be a career coach, you slightly start going into walk us through that journey of hey, I like helping people,
Yeah.
and then that transition to like thinking through, okay, maybe I make a business out of this.
Yeah. Definitely. So I'd say 2020 was when I really
Yeah.
started. And when I say started, Instagram page,
Yeah. Yeah.
like, just set it up and I was like, I'll give some advice out. And the reason was because, as a graduate myself, I really struggled with the job search and I couldn't get a job a long time ago. When I got my job, I actually posted it on LinkedIn. I started getting people come to me and say, oh, can you help me out? And I started looking into it and I was like, oh, actually, it's there's a lot of other people who are struggling with this, and I started helping a few people out for free here and there, and that's when I thought, let me just create some content to help a few people. Really, that's how it started. Then that evolved into people, more people kind of coming to me. I then did some free consultations and things like that, and that converted a few of them into like, I remember writing my first CV for like £20,
Yeah.
and I was like, oh, this is cool. I've made some money like on the side of my job. It was like a light bulb moment because I was like, this can be something, right?
Yeah.
Um, so then, yeah, I was creating content for like nearly a year on Instagram, and I was getting, it was okay. I was getting some success. I was like, let me look at other options, and that's when I found LinkedIn and the opportunity there at the time. LinkedIn, even today, it's got such an opportunity to grow
Still like
organically.
5 years behind from Instagram.
Yeah, exactly. But back then, 2020, 2021 it was there was even less like creators at the time. I think
Yeah.
I read an article. It was like less than 1% of people on the platform are posting weekly.
Yeah.
And I made my first post, and I remember it because I still remember it to today. It took me 5 days to post it because of anxiety and stress. And I was like, I don't know, I don't want to do this. Everyone's going to see it. And when I did it got more views, more impressions on that one post than my entire year's worth of Instagram content. And I was like, damn, yeah, what have I been doing for the last year? But that's when I was like, right, I'm moving there. And when I started going on LinkedIn, started to get better quality people come to me, and I moved it into kind of one-to-one work,
Yeah.
coaching and things like that. And it just grew from there really. So yeah, that's kind of the journey.
Let's transition from now, like us starting to work together. What would you say is one of some of those big, one of the key breakthroughs or aha moments that you had since our time together?
I think it's for me, it was being able to zoom out and get an expert's view, you and your team, and just to help me come out of the day to day and then look at the business and show you, show me essentially
Yeah.
that this can be done through a system. I was like, okay, let me look at what it means, and it's data, it's systems, it's very clear,
Yeah.
moving people through the funnel, and just that gives you the predictability which I didn't have before. I was kind of just scrapping around looking for the next sale, and I wasn't nurturing them correctly. I didn't have a plan or a path for them, and I didn't know that if I create this type of content, I might get this many leads, and then those many leads convert into this many clients, and I can now predict the future. So um, that for me was the best thing, was just zooming out and actually creating the system that would support the business.
Yeah. Yeah. And so let's dive deeper into this. Like, how did the systems and processes that we were working with you to implement, how did that then transition the way that you ran your business and even thought about your business?
Yeah, so I started to see it more as a business,
Yeah.
I know, as opposed to a hobby. I was like, okay, this can be something that I think ultimately a business would be um, something you can. What I didn't want to do was quit my job to then just have another job, and that
Yeah.
was my fear. Was like, if I leave my job, it has to be ready, scalable, efficient for me to be able to go and run it, hire, etc. And that's how I'm going to be able to create the money that's going to give me the runway and take it to the next level.
Yeah.
So the systems have given me that predictability essentially.
Yeah.
From every stage of the funnel, from marketing and how you create content, to taking DMs or creating your funnel to take them into another section, whether it be a workshop or group coaching call. And then the final bit is bringing them in and onboarding them,
Yeah.
and the journey they go on there, and having it all mapped out, and then having your team looking at each stage. How do we optimize? How do we improve? And once you've done that a few times, you start to get the numbers, and the numbers are pretty much the same every time. I know what's going to convert at what percentage when, and also the types of people that are going to work the best, do the best, get the best results. And I'm just constantly now optimizing that. So I'm no longer really worried about kind of where the next sale is coming from, because I've already done it. I've got the plan. It's been tracked, and I know what's coming in the future. So
Yeah.
that's given me the confidence essentially, and to make me think, okay, this could be a
Yeah.
pretty big business now if I
It
scale
doesn't
it
feel
up.
like every month you have to be hoping that you get enough inbound messages interested in working with you or
It's
referrals.
like
You're like you know that.
it's like being on, I don't know, like you're in the sea and you just kind of like no compass, no, you're just kind of looking around, so you don't know where to go.
Yeah.
As now I've got a direction, I know for exactly, because everything's processized now.
Yeah.
Whereas before I was creating some content and some of that would drive
Yeah.
leads, and then I'd have a conversation with them, and then I'd take on a sales call, maybe sell them a one-to-one program. I was like, okay, cool, but because I was doing that, I didn't have more sales coming in, and it wasn't really working for me, to be
Because you would
honest.
spend a lot of time in client success, and then nothing will happen in marketing and sales because there was no systems in there.
Well, I was the marketer, the
Yeah.
salesperson, the admin guy, the
Yeah.
finance guy,
Yeah.
the coach,
Yeah.
the interviewer, everything. Um, and one of the key things actually is being able to take the knowledge out of your head and putting it into other
Yeah.
formats like video, like resources, workbooks,
Yes.
communities. Also, being resourceful and
Yeah.
bringing in experts, other coaches, collaborating with people, so that they can serve your clients at scale, and you can actually come out and be a business leader,
Yeah.
which is now what I want to,
Yeah.
I'm transitioning to, and I have been doing for the last kind of year
Yeah, like
now.
now your business is serving you versus you serving your business and just being
Exactly, yeah.
so inside the weeds that we are just. Oh, it happens to all of us. How would you say your revenue or your client base? How would your revenue and your client base has grown since working together?
Yeah, so it took a while to build the product, I suppose, in terms of
Yeah.
the filming and everything. But once I'd done that and I started to bring people into it, it was being able to serve a lot of people at
Yeah.
once, which is something I've never been able to do on the side of a full-time job,
Yeah.
um, on my own. And I can now probably serve like 30 people at a time, 40 people at a time if I want to, and I could probably get up to 70, at a push, and then going full time, I know I'll be able to do a lot more than that. So that's been a game changer because, um, well, I mean, you get more people in
Yeah.
at one time, they pay a lot more money for you, right? So I think I had the other thing to change was, which something I wish I did earlier actually, which you advised me to do, but I didn't, was bring someone into the business like earlier. So I've got someone working 2 days full time on the business now, and not the minute, but the month I did that was my best ever month by
Yeah.
far in the business. Like I tripled my revenue,
Yeah.
and I sold. It was about 16 grand in a week it
Yeah.
was, and it was 8k cash collected, but I had predictability of the next 3 months I'm getting these deposits
Yeah.
in. I was like, damn, that's, and plus the success fee which I had at the time. And I was like, I've never seen that level of revenue coming in one time, because usually that's kind of
Yeah.
sporadic and spread out over a certain period of time. And I then knew, I was like, okay, well that's only a low amount of clients. If I could do that,
Just ramp every other thing up.
yeah,
Oh, with
if I
that
if
sort of
I just
capacity.
increase that number there,
Yeah.
I could really increase that number there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of what you're saying is what I love, and I think it's so important for career coaches to understand is the importance of building the systems and processes so you know what lever you can pull whenever you need it, right? So like if you know that you need sales next month more than usual, then you need to increase your leads, and so because you have the systems and process in place, you know how it will all flow down. And so you know I need this many leads to get this many clients. But
Yeah.
if you're just leaving everything to chance or luck, you don't know how that you don't there's no predictability in your business.
Well, the other thing I'd add to that is also knowing what your blockers are,
Yeah.
in particular. So I think working, I'm a natural marketer and salesperson. That's what I'm good at. That's what I do for a job. It's where I have the most energy. Um, I'm not the most natural like operations person or systems person, I suppose, organizer.
Yeah.
And when speaking to you guys, and it was kind of like, well, actually, your problem isn't sales marketing right now. You've got a pretty good LinkedIn presence. It's going okay. We
Yeah.
we know we can get leads. I didn't have a necessary process for nurturing those leads, but
Yeah.
we can sort that out later. We need to work on the business, the product, and the system, and the onboarding, and the client success.
Because you're working full time, your bottleneck was gonna not have enough time for you to
Exactly.
deliver the service.
So I think having that support as well is kind of like helping you
Yeah.
identify where you should spend it, because otherwise I'd create content all day.
Yeah.
I just love it. So I like doing that kind of stuff, and I like selling, and I like talking and being on a podcast or whatever. That's where I'm more natural, but it's not in the weeds of
Yeah.
the business. And I was like, well, actually, let me just boom, focus on that. And I'm getting better at that. But
Yeah.
your team really helped me. Being like, no, you don't need to do that. Just do this. I was
Yeah.
like, okay, cool. So we actually flipped my focus. It's like this is what we need to do for the first 6 months, and then that, and then that.
Yeah.
So that was a game
Love
changer.
it.
Yeah.
How has this transformation affected your personal life?
Oh, it's great. I'm a lot happier because I feel like I've got that kind of confidence now with where I'm going, and it's a lot clearer in my head, like
Yeah.
where I want to get to in terms of the next level. And
Mm-hmm.
I've now got more of a 6 month plan, a 9 month plan, a year plan, whereas before I was kind of going day to day, week by week. Um, so yeah, for me, and also what will say is I feel like I'm spending my time on the right things,
Mm-hmm.
which before, I'd work, and then after work I'd be doing loads of stuff, but it's work, but it's not on work that's the most productive type of work. It's kind of, it's not moving the needle for the business as much as
Yeah.
what I felt was happening before. Whereas now, the stuff I'm working on, I feel like this is making a difference, making a change, and I can see it in
Yeah.
data. And it's like, right, cool. I know that's great, and it's actually given me more time back in my personal life
Yeah.
as well. It's because I think you can get so wrapped up with the busyness of business that you forget to focus on the things that are going to make the most difference. And actually, you don't need to spend. There's a bit of a cultural thing where it's like, just work hard, work hard, work hard, and it'll
Yeah.
happen. I think you have to work hard, obviously, but work smart. Like, work on
Yeah.
the things, and then you can save time and put some of that, more of that time, into investing in yourself,
Yeah.
with your personal life, your friends, family, all that kind of stuff. 'Cause I had no time before. Genuinely, I've got more time now, I feel, than what I did before working with you guys, in terms of being able to spend more time with friends and family and do things that I enjoy, and then that helps me for the next day. Like,
Because
pick,
you're
yeah,
mentally charged.
exactly. Prioritize the
Yeah.
right
Because not all
things.
time is created equal. There's some tasks that are more high value tasks for your business that will give you a better return than others, right? And I think one of the biggest mistakes I see early career coaches make, even before they start working with us, is they're spending 80% of their time in a very low value task that
Mm.
can easily be delegated, automated, or deleted, versus the tasks that actually are going to give you the best return on investment.
That's exactly what I was doing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, it's good.
What would you say are some of the tough spots that you've gone through as you're growing your business, and how did you navigate them?
Um, I think one challenge I'm dealing with now is that I can see the opportunity to scale, but it requires people. I would say, like, I need a couple more people in the business to get that. You need the revenue to be able to pay them, and also for me, I'm still working part time at my job,
Yeah.
my corporate job. So it's probably making that transition is going to be a difficult thing to do. Um, Other than that, I'd say some mindset stuff really. I'd say just battling your own um, beliefs about, and confidence about, like, where it could be, what it could do, and just having the support actually from you and your team is,
Yeah.
is really great, because these are people who've been there and done it in a very similar business to you. You're also connecting and collaborating with a lot of people, and that helps you see sometimes that you can't see it otherwise. 'Cause
Yeah.
I don't have many, well, barely any. Like, I've got zero career coach friends, right?
Yeah.
In my area in UK, and I've got a few people who are, like, running businesses, but my close circle isn't necessarily that.
Yeah.
So it helps you kind of see the future a bit more. And it was like, okay, cool. If I do this, then I can do that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
What are some advice would you have for career coaches who are maybe starting out or are watching this and feeling stuck?
yeah, I think career coaching is like, I feel it needs to be a business that you're passionate about, and because it's a business ultimately to help people change their lives and get jobs. And it was born out of a pain for me. It was born out of my own problem, my own suffering of, like, feeling depressed, and not having a job and not feeling like I'm going to make the best of my life in my degree. And that's what drove me to start it and
Yeah.
help others. And it was good to see that success. And I think that's a strong why. Having a strong purpose for running that business is going to get you through all the problems you're going to
Yeah.
face, the hurdles or whatever else. So I'd say just if you're feeling stuck, is it a question of you don't enjoy doing the type of work? Because if you just want to make money, do something else.
Yes.
Like you said,
Yes.
we were talking earlier, do
Yeah.
drop shipping, go
Yeah.
sell stuff on Amazon, buy, flip things,
Yeah.
do anything else. Right? It's a business that it can definitely work. It's a good business to make money for sure,
Hmm.
but to get through the hard times, I would say you need to have a genuine reason, and it connects back to your values. So if it's that, then I'd maybe have a look at that and focus on it. If it's more of a you don't feel like it can make money, or
Yeah.
there's like I was, too much time is being spent on certain things, then I'd say just zoom out, like take a breath, take a moment, pause, and just look where your time's being spent and say to yourself, can this be better? Can this be more efficient? Um, is there a system in place, that will support my time and will support my life as well? Um, and then you can build it. So it just depends, I suppose, where the problems are. But yeah,
So you mentioned that you started your business around 2020, 2021,
yeah.
right? If knowing what you know now, and you can go back in time and leave younger Dan one piece of advice, what would that advice be?
um, there's so much. This is the thing. There's so
Yeah,
much.
but you gotta prioritize,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
So
yeah. There's so many things I'd tell him to change, but you don't know what you don't know, I suppose, at the time. So okay, so I'd probably say um, focus on building a product that is scalable and can serve a lot of people, because I was focused so much on the content, the marketing, and trying to get the views and everything else, that I didn't have a product that I felt could serve many people. Therefore, it's not a proper business until it's scalable. So that's what I'd say. Think about filming video courses, think about the workbooks, think about a community, like stuff that can serve one to many as opposed to one to one. I spent too long in one to one,
yeah,
but I didn't know another way. At the time, it's just naivety or whatever. You don't know what you don't know sometimes. So that's what I'd say. Spending more time on the business, not in the business. That'd
yeah.
be the key advice.
Love it. Dan, thank you so much for doing this. Again, it's been such a pleasure to work with you, seeing the journey, the transformation of the business. Your business now works in systems and processes, and I appreciate you having this conversation with me, man.
No,
Thank
appreciate
you.
it. Thanks so much, man.